My dear students, welcome back to Vijay's classroom of biology. In this class, we are going to have a brief lecture on the members of the microbial world. As in the previous video, as it was defined that microbiology is the study of all living microorganisms, which are tiny creatures that are invisible to your naked eyes. Here we have some discussions related to the members of the microbial world. Here, microbiology is the study of a large, diverse group of microorganisms, such as bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae, and so on, which are invisible to your naked eye and must be examined with the help of a microscope. Micro means the size of micro, and scope means aim. So, with an aim to visualize objects that are at micrometric in size, we use an instrument called microscope. So, using the microscope, we are going to examine certain living creatures which are invisible to your naked eye. So that's the actual prompt definition. And in the study, it also includes viruses, which are always ultramicroscopic, intracellular, obligate parasites, but are also acellular in nature. They don't have the prompt cellular structure. It includes other members like viruses also. So, in the size ranges, we study them at a micrometer size. Uh, 1 millimeter is equal to 1000 micrometer in its conversion formula, and we do study certain microorganisms that are nanometer in size. 1 micrometer is equal to 1000 nanometer. We have organisms on both the scales. So, in the list, we have bacteria, which are always prokaryotic in nature. That is, they are having pre-nucleus, pre-formed nucleus. Nucleus is lacking the membrane, so it lacks two membrane delimited nucleus. So these organisms are usually measured in micrometric size, micrometer in size, and unicellular in nature. They may be pathogenic, or some forms are non-pathogenic. The largest bacteria in the world is usually from the genus Thiomargarita. A very good example here is the Thiomargarita namibiensis. Size ranges from 0.3 micrometer to 300 micrometer in diameter. And based on the length, we define some bacteria as longest bacteria. And we have a very good example of Epilopicium Fischelsoni. So this Epilopicium Fischelsoni of length 600 micrometer. We have a smallest bacteria, that is Mycoplasma genitalium. This the size is equivalent to the size of virus. Usually 200 nanometer to 300 nanometer as the diameter. So that is the measure for the bacteria. Mycoplasma genitalium. Bacteria usually reproduce by asexual and binary fission mode. Cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, but some bacteria like Mycoplasma, they lack cell wall. Mycoplasma are usually called as wall-less bacteria. And based on the motility, we use the term locomotion. So, locomotion is through the extracellular appendage like flagella. Some bacteria are motile and few are non-motile because they lack flagella. Common bacterial diseases that we find in the society is anthrax to our livestock, like cows and other livestock, caused by Bacillus anthracis. We have typhoid caused by Salmonella typhi, and chlorella caused by Vibrio cholerae, and syphilis This is sexually transmitted disease caused by Treponema pallidum. And we have diphtheria caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Study of bacteria is called bacteriology. And father of bacteriology is Robert Koch. Next to bacteria, we have archaea, which is also a group of prokaryotic bacteria, simply termed as the extremophils. They love to stay in extreme environments because of their cell architecture that supports their survival in the extreme environment. They can withstand adverse conditions in the environment. So the word archaea comes from the Greek word which means ancient things. So these ones originated long back before the arrival of the common true bacteria. These ones are having a history, long history than bacteria. So they come from the Greek word archaea means ancient things. Cell wall is made up of some polymers other than the peptidoglycan, and the size measures around micrometer. It ranges from zero point 0.5 micrometer to 2 micrometer. They are also unicellular in nature. Reproduction is through asexual reproduction and fragmentation or budding. It includes some of the methanogens that are usually used for biogas production and for the sewage treatment. And we do have some extreme allophils. Allophils are nothing but the living organisms that loves to stay in high salt concentration. And extreme thermophils, those bacteria are able to survive at a very high temperature. And, however, the archaea are non-motile. You don't find flagella like external appendages in archaea. They are non-motile and they can withstand adverse condition. As they can withstand adverse condition, they don't need any kind of extracellular appendages to escape from the adverse environment. They can withstand those adverse environment, and all are non-pathogenic usually. Luckily, we don't have any pathogens in the archaea category. And in the kingdom fungi, we have eukaryotes. All are eukaryotes. All the fungal cells have nucleus which has a perfect membrane bound nature. So all are eukaryotes. They have true nucleus and measured in micrometer size, and size ranges between 2 micrometer to 200 micrometer. Two types of fungi exist. One form is called mold, which are the filamentous fungi. Under that category, we have mushrooms, aspergillus species, Mexican species, rhizopus species, mucus species, trichoderma species, and fisharium species. And in the yeast category, we have Candida. Previously, it was named as Torolopsis. And we have Cryptococcus, very good example. The pathogen we have is Cryptococcus neoformans. And under Candida, we have 10 species. Many are pathogens, some are fermentative in nature. And we have Saccharomyces cerevisiae as a useful, wonderful fermentative yeast. Under mold category, we have several fungi. Generally, molds are multicellular in nature, and yeasts are usually unicellular in nature. Fungal cell wall is made up of chitin and cellulose. Chitin forms 5 to 10% of the cell wall. The rest is cellulose. Reproduction in case of mold, it is asexual as well as through sexual spores. In yeast, we find only budding, and locomotion for both mold and yeast, it is non-motile. Study of fungi is called mycology. Father of mycology is Pierre Antonio Micheli. And father of modern mycology is Micheli Heinrich Anton de Bary. Father of Indian mycology and plant pathology is Sir Edwin John Butler. Fungi are pathogenic to humans and plants. Majority of plant diseases are caused by fungi, whereas some fungi are detrimental and saprophytic in nature and they feed on dead and decaying material. Those may not be often pathogens. So you have either case. Some are pathogens and some are non-pathogens. Under the category algae, they are also eukaryotic in nature, having a membrane-bound nucleus. True nucleus it is said to be. So U means true. Eukaryotes are generally having two nucleus. So algae, under algae category we find eukaryotic cells, measures in micrometer size. Size ranges between zero point 0.5 micrometer to 30 micrometer size. Algae are found most commonly in the aquatic environment or in the damp or drenched soil, water drenched soil. And these are prototrophs, they can perform photosynthesis to fix atmospheric carbon dioxide to prepare their own food. They are very much related to plants in their function. Some algae are unicellular, for example, planktons like spirulina chlorella, and many are multicellular, as we can see microalgae, macroalgae, like seaweeds, for example, sargassum, a useful seaweed, is multicellular algae, multicellular macroalgae. They obtain their nutrients by photosynthesis and their photographs like plants chloroplast is present in algae as pigments from photosynthesis. Reproduction is through asexual and sexual spores. Both modes are there. They have motile gametes. And locomotion, some algae are motile and some are non-motile. In the presence of extracellular appendages. Algae are highly used in the production of agar. From red algae, Geridium and Gracilaria, we extract agar, solidifying agent. We do have alginates or alginic acid from brown algae. Macrocyst is pyrifera. These alginates are very much useful in encapsulation processes, encapsulate cells and enzymes and other metabolites. And algae are helpful in the production of biodiesel cells, other biofuels, especially the biohydrogen production. Algae are also helpful in agriculture as a fertilizer. Your seaweed fertilizers, spirulina, chlorella are used as fertilizer in fisheries, in aquatic facilities. And, some algae are directly taken as nutrients. They support as nutrition in the form of single cell protein as well as some edible seaweeds. Algae serve as a pigment source. Example, chlorophyll and carotenoids are the pigments extracted from algae and used as food colorants. They do have antioxidant properties, so they have nutraceutical properties. And some algae has some stabilizing substances. Say, for example, we have carrageenan from red algae, Chondrus crispus is used as a stabilizer in milk products. Largest algae is Macrocystis pyrifera. This is simply said to be giant kelp. Size ranges between 30 meter to 40 meter length. And smallest algae is Micromonas ocilla, which is a phytoplankton related to the phytoplankton category. And size is just zero point 0.5 micrometer. Study of algae is called phycology or algology. Father of phycology is Felix Eugen Fritsch. Father of Indian phycology is M.O.P. Iyengar. And all the algae are non-pathogenic in nature. we do have protozoans, which are eukaryotic protists. They are eukaryotic in nature, and they are under the zoans, under the animal category. We have protozoans and metazoans. Protozoans are the first formed animals. So they are unicellular, eukaryotic in nature, and they are primitive animals. We can still call them as primitive animals. They are measured in micrometer, and size ranges from 1 micrometer to 500 micrometer. Largest protozoan is Stringamina fragilissima. Smallest protozoan, we have the flagellates like Euglena species. And reproduction is through asexual as well as sexual mode. Locomotion is using the pseudopodia, cilia, and flagella. They are all motile. Protozoans are almost motile. They have extracellular appendages like cilia and flagella. If some protozoans they don't have extracellular appendages, they migrate by um, forming a pseudopodia, false feet. Cells drag themselves and then migrate here and there. So those are pseudopodia-like structures. And study of protozoa is called protozoology. Father of protozoology is Anton Mallivinov. Protozoans are of two types. They may be pathogenic in nature or sometimes non-pathogenic in nature. And at last we have viruses. As I said in the previous lecture, viruses are acellular in nature. They don't form the proper cell structure. They are either made up of proteins and DNA or proteins or RNA. And they do have lipid membranes. They are called enveloped viruses, but the lipid membrane is of host origin. So that's why we don't define them with a proper cell structure. They are always called acellular, ultramicroscopic, intracellular, obligate parasites. They behave strict parasitism. They have a strict parasitic behavior. So they are measured in nanometers and size ranges from 20 nanometer to 1500 nanometer. Viruses can be visualized only under ultra microscopes like electron microscope. As they are the biological puzzles, they can exist as non-living, they can transform as living when inside cells. They are the biological puzzles, and they are also called living chemicals. Replicates only inside the living cells. Viruses can be cultivated in the living cells only. As I said, they show obligate parasitism. They need host cells to multiply, and all the viruses are always infectious to the host. Locomotion, they are totally non-motile. They don't move. They infect cells. When the infection spreads, they migrate. Viruses cause large number of diseases in humans. For example, we have human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, causing AIDS. We have a common cold caused by rhinovirus. We have poliomyelitis, causing polio. And then we have coronavirus causing severe acute respiratory syndrome like SARS. Herpes virus, hepatitis viruses in humans. In plants, we have tobacco mosaic virus, papaya, ring spot virus, several other viruses. In animals, we have foot and mouth disease viruses. Largest virus is giant virus. Biological name is Pithovirus severica. Size is 1500 nanometer, means 1.5 micrometer in size. And the smallest virus is parvovirus. Size is 18 nanometer. Study of viruses is called virology. The father of virology is Martinus William Beijing. Thank you.